everyone. My name is Rafa Casas. I'm a direct response copywriter and one of the two founders of Círculo Copy. The other one, Joseli, un tipo muy copy, isn't here because he had a bad cold. Today we are joined by a figure whose name resonates with authority and mastery in the universe of direct response copywriting. I'm very pleased to present Bob Bly, a master in the art of words, a true alchemist of persuasion, a living legend in direct response copywriting. Bob, your career is a tapestry woven with success. From your early steps, you have demonstrated a unique gift for understanding not only how to write, but how to write to motivate, to move to action, to sell, and a lot of things.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your books, over 100, maybe 105 or 106, okay, published, right? They are the compass for anyone aspiring to master the art of copywriting. But what really makes you a living legend is not your ability to teach, but your ability to do things that matter. You have worked with countless companies, large and small, demonstrating that the right words can not only capture attention, but also transform that attention into tangible results. For the business owner, copywriters, and a student watching us, Bob, is the living example that excellence in copywriting is a mix of science and art. Today, we have the unique opportunity to delve into his mind, to understand how he sees the world, how he analyzes the market, how he finds that perfect phrase that can make the difference between a forgotten product and a resounding success. Bob, thank you for being here. We are eager to learn from your vast experience and to discover those secrets that have made you a master of dealer response copywriting. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you so much for having me.
Are you ready to let us explore your brilliant mind?
What little there is, sure, go ahead.
Okay, let's start then. Look, one of the questions we are most asked by our students at Círculo Copy, and which is one of the most important pain for beginning copywriters, is how to get clients. There are those who begin by creating a subscriber list, but of course this is not easy, and they take a long time to have a good list, since they cannot invest in advertising. Tell me, Bob, if you were starting today as a freelance copywriter in today's society, with many copywriters fighting for the same piece of the pie, AI threatening the jobs of copywriters, what would you do to start on the right foot and consistently get clients? I know it's the $1 million question, but I know you know.
So I started this in the late 1970s, but what I would do today is different than what I did then. Then I wrote a paper, a direct mail sales letter saying, basically hire me as a copywriter. Obviously, it was more than that. And I mailed it to hundreds of ad agency creative directors and marketing managers. And I got a lot of response, and that's how I started. But today, what I would do is three things. I mean, there's more, but I would do three things. I would put up, if you haven't done this already and you're listening, you need to have a copywriter's website. Secondly, I would build my opt-in email list, and it doesn't have to be built all at once. I know people who make good money with lists of 100, 500 people. It doesn't have to have 50,000. So start now, and I can show you how to do that. But I would have an e-newsletter. And the third one I would do, well, there's four. The third one I would do is content. There's content marketing. I would establish my reputation and expertise by putting out content on my topic, whether it's how to write medical copy or how to market automobiles, whatever you do. And the fourth thing is I would do what we call today, which wasn't what we did back when I started, called outreach. There's something called outreach, which means you go out to people that you know or people who you have some contact with and work that network, which you can usually do best on LinkedIn, but you can also do it by email and make connections, and they can help you find the people or person out there who can hire you. Those are the four things. Those are the four things.
Okay, they're very interesting. But do you advocate for daily email, or do you think that it may annoy the potential
No, email's
clients?
good. Email's good, but the best email is build your e-newsletter list. And that is your best list for responding to sales emails that you send out. So that's good. They go hand in hand. We found that generally for freelance copywriters, renting an e-list doesn't really work well.
Yeah, I know, and it may be a problem for the spam and on
It
all
can
the
be,
stuff. Yeah. And what kind of email do you recommend for B2B? More direct and salesy, or more entertaining and informative stories? Just for B2B.
I use for B2B 3 different types of emails. One is what I would call, content marketing. B2B people. Now, I work in B2B more in the technical side of the business. By that, I mean technical products, valves, pumps, control systems, engines, motors, because I'm an engineer by training. So those things, you can be very successful by sending out emails that educate the reader about both your product, your technology, and the problem that you're going to solve for them. So number 1 is content. Number 2 is sales, lead generation. Basically, you say, I can solve your problem with my copy. I can write you an email. Here's people I've written emails for. Here's some of the results I got. Give me a call. I'll send you some more examples. You do a sales email to your list. And the third thing you can do is with your regular e-newsletter, get them on an e-newsletter that you send out on a steady, regular basis. It can be as infrequently as once a month, or it can be more frequently. But the reason to do that is if you have a regular email, let's say it's monthly, that you know that everyone who contacts you and is on your list will hear from you a minimum of 12 times a year. So you keep what we like to call top of mind awareness. Now, when I started, we couldn't do that because we didn't have email, and to reach your entire list meant postal mail. And it was such a pain and big project. I might have sent out one postal newsletter, but no one did it regularly. It was just too much work. Now it's easy and simple and doesn't cost you very little.
Yes. And what percentage do you think is appropriate for sales emails and content emails?
Well, here's the thing. Back in the old days, when we did paper direct mail, it varied, but if we got a 1 to 2% response, send out 100, 1 or 2 leads, that was good. If you got 3 or 4 leads, that was great. And you could get higher with the email, with the direct mail, not the email, but the direct mail I developed. We got a letter after a little testing that did a 10% response. It's not a record, but it was pretty high. I would send out 100 of these letters, and I'd get 10 leads for people who were qualified and interested. And of those 10, I would follow up on the phone and in the mail, and I would usually be able to close 3 of them as new clients. In email, the numbers are different because email costs us so much less to send out. But there are benchmarks and standards. What we measure, first of all, we measure open rates. When you send out an email, do people even bother to open it and read it? What are they? if you can get an 8% open rate, it's pretty good. You can sometimes get more, but even if it's less, it can work. So you measure open rate. Then you measure click-through rate. In your email, you have a call to action or an offer. It says, click here to download my white paper. And click-through rates can range from 0.5% to 5% or more.
Mhm.
Then after that, you measure conversion rates, which is, let's say, 100, not 100, let's say 10 people click through and download your white paper. Of those 10, conversion, how many will become clients? And if you get 1 or 2, that's pretty good.
That's very good. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And now let's talk about the length of emails. Long or short? Is the length really important? The email, you know.
I'd like to say it's not, but it is. And the thing is, what we've noticed in copywriting, and I've been doing this for over 4 decades, is that as the years pass, consumer direct mail and email that sells a product through the web or through print, let's say you're selling vitamins or plant seeds,
Yeah.
that copy is getting longer and longer for reasons I can go into. But B2B is the opposite direction. It's getting shorter and shorter. So generally for a B2B, it's not the ultimate answer, but generally for a B2B, we like a shorter email rather than a longer email. And most of my B2B emails, and there's samples on my site that are both consumer and B2B, most of my B2Bs today are, 1-page emails.
Wow, okay. Because maybe because they don't have enough time to read and that they have a lot of emails to read and they prefer punchy and short emails, isn't it?
The business prospect, the what we normally say, and there's probably some or a lot of truth in it, the business prospect is busy and they're reading it as part of their work. So their time is limited. But let's say you're doing consumer emails. I got one, earlier today on for a dietary supplement. If you're emailing to a health audience, because there are people on lists who are known to be vitamin and mineral buyers. If you're mailing to one of those lists, they are information seekers. They, so long copy, both in the email and more so on the landing page, can absolutely work.
Mm-hmm.
We did a test, if I can go into this, not me, my teacher, Mill Pierce, decades ago, where he did a sales letter for the Playboy Book Club. And he wrote a 4-page letter, and the client will say, this won't work, it's too long. He said, mail it, it worked. They said, what do we do now? He said, try an 8-page letter. It worked better.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, okay, we're done. He goes, no, I'll write a 12-page letter. And it worked better. Now he said, and he taught this in a class I took, he said, the reason this worked is who's the audience? Playboy Book Club. You're going to people who are readers, so they will read it. On the other hand, I don't know if this is still the case, but early in my career, I did some direct mail to farmers, and we found they didn't read that much. We also did direct mail B2B. This was interesting. We did B2B direct mail to people who are what we call on the oil platform. They're on a field or in the ocean, and they're working on an oil rig. Their hands are literally covered with grease and oil. So, they can't leaf through a long brochure. In fact, when we sent them product literature, collateral, it was usually 8.5 by 11, 1 or 2 sides, and we laminated it so the grease on their hands wouldn't destroy the paper.
Wow, interesting, Bob. And in B2B, is very. Do you think it's important to understand the consumer psychology? Could you share the process behind creating a sales email that has had a remarkable success?
Let me give you one. First, I think it's important to understand the psychology of the prospect. Sometimes I do see that's more difficult in B2B, because if you're writing consumer copy and you're writing for a book club, you read books, or writing for cookies. You eat cookies and buy cookies. So it's easier to understand. But if you're writing for a technical audience or a specialty audience, I once had to write a subscription letter to sell subscriptions to a magazine for pediatricians. And I took on the assignment. And then when I left the client's office and had to go home and write, I said, I don't know anything about pediatricians. I don't know how they think, so that you have to learn that. And there are methods for doing so.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. And the sales page have evolved greatly over time. In your experience, what has been the most significant change, and how has it impacted the way you write copy right now in the sales page?
There have been a lot of changes over these years since the internet came to the forefront. I could make a long list, but if I had to pick one that is the major one, it is online video.
Sales video later.
Sales video, but I don't mean necessarily a long sales presentation. You go on a company's, like you go on the online, the sales page or the website for OpenAI, the guys who make ChatGPT, and right away their video starts playing. They're short, they're not greatly technical, but videos get attention. I in my business, I sell information products, ebooks, audio albums, videos, and we have sales pages. And then we started to add short videos to all our sales pages on average, and we have dozens of them. The order rate went up by 18% on average when we added video. So videos are a big breakthrough. Now, the ironic thing is I've been writing videos since the late 70s. But they weren't short, they weren't online, there was no internet. And I never was that big a fan of video. I'd rather reprint. But the jury's in. Video, people do read text online, but videos capture attention.
Yes,
so
yes.
I write a lot of videos these days.
Wow, this is a very good one. And how do you use copy storytelling in copywriting?
That's an interesting thing. I just wrote an article. It's probably an odd thing on the 3 reasons why ChatGPT can't write copy as well as you and I can. And one of them, stories are very important. And one of the 3 reasons is stories. The best stories are experience-based, specific, personal, and real. ChatGPT has no experience. It's stealing stories from other stuff that don't necessarily apply. So, you want to use stories, and the best stories are the ones that you may have heard them somewhere, but that actually happened to you. Everybody has stuff that can be used as a story, and so you pay attention. You go through your life with your ears and eyes wide open, and when something comes, and this is the key thing though, when something comes across that you hear, you got to capture it right away. So enter it into your smartphone, or take out a pen and jot it on the
notebook.
And that's what I do. There was a famous story that a guy had to write an ad for diapers. This was in the 20th century. I forget who it was, but it was one of the big ad agencies, and he didn't know what to put in the ad. And then he was talking with a friend who was also a new parent. He goes, I was so worried about having a girl. I wanted to have a boy. And why does every guy want his first child to be a boy? And the answer is, you want to play sports with him. So he wrote ads about your son being born, and you can't wait to toss a baseball with him. So that's an example of a story.
Yeah. It's true. You've told me your favorite metrics for measuring the success of a copywriting campaign are sales. Yes,
that is it. It is
at the end are sales, or you say
no. It's ROI, which is, here's the thing: if I spend $1 on my marketing and I get $1 back in sales, net sales, I've broken even. That's not terrible, because the money is made on the repeat sales to those same customers. So that's okay. But we always said in the old days of direct mail, we want to do at least 150% of break even. So if we spent $100 in the mail, we want that $150 in the initial orders. And obviously you like to do better, and you can do, even with whether it's mail or digital, you can do 2 or 3 times more than your costs. So we look for multiples of the cost. The cost is the main thing. What did it cost to get this campaign out? And then how much did we get back from it? And
Yes,
and people say to me, well, that's all and good, but if I'm studying direct response and I'm getting emails, I'm going to landing pages, how do I know which ones are the ones that work? And I said, that's easy. If you start getting an email multiple times from the same advertiser, it's working. Because if it wasn't, they wouldn't repeat it. It was the same thing in the direct mail days. You knew that if a package came to you 2 or 3 or 4 times over the course of a month, it was working. On the other hand, same with a print ad. If a print ad ran once in Parade magazine and you never saw it again, that's because it didn't work.
Yes. And Bob, could you share a campaign that didn't work out as you expected, and what lessons you learned from that experience? Because everybody thinks that the great copywriters, the A copywriters, always win. Okay,
that's not true at all. The great copywriter, every copywriter has their losses, things that don't win. And anyone who says to you, any copywriter or ad agency says everything we write wins, they are lying. No one has 100% or even 90% or even 80%. Here's one that I tried. Do you guys know where you are, the Publishers Clearinghouse?
The publishers?
Publishers Clearinghouse.
Yeah,
it's a huge mailer, or was, now that's mainly digital. One of the biggest mailers in the United States. They send out these mailings to get you subscribed to magazines, and they offer multiple magazines in the mailer. And they kept mailing it. And the key of their package was there was these stamps, each with different covers of magazines. So you had to tear off the stamp, lick it, and put it on the order form to show what magazine you wanted. And when I just started out, I was so stupid. I said, you know what? This is costing you a lot of money. Why don't we just put the names of the magazines on the order form? You write them in. And it bombed. It was terrible because I didn't realize the stamps, which were colorful, by the way, were an involvement device. That was fun. You look at the stamp, say, I want that magazine. You tear it off, you lick it, and you put it on the order form. So, often success in marketing and business is counterintuitive. What you think should work doesn't work. What you think won't work does.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob. And for those who are just starting out in the world of copywriting, what advice would you give that you wish you had received at the beginning of your career?
There's lots. Of course, I could come up with a list of 10 to 15 things. But what I would say is become a student of direct marketing. Now, in the beginning of my career, there was no internet. It was all direct mail. And there was a woman who was a business coach, and she told me, Bob, the mailbox is direct. No, she said, direct mail is your university in a mailbox. She said, if I see someone, she was in direct mail. She said, if I see someone who doesn't read their own direct mail, I know they're never going to be any good. You study it. I mean, I read it as a student, and I still do this to this day. I just got a big package of mailers from one of the big collectible coin companies because I had ordered a product from them. And often I will order a product just to get all the company's mailings and sales literature. And you study that like it's gold, like it's the Bible. That's the main thing. And you read it from not just from the consumer's point of view, which is important, but from the copywriter's point of view. What makes this work? What stands out in this? What's in here that I could swipe or take for my mailing, my ad, my website?
This is like a kind of reverse engineering, isn't it?
Yes, it is actually Yeah, I didn't think of it that way, but that's what it is. It's reverse engineering. Exactly.
Yeah. And would you recommend to copywriters who are starting their career to specialize in a more specific niche,
I
or do you
do.
prefer? Yeah, yeah, I know,
This
I
comes
know
up.
you do.
This comes up all the time, and it's been a question since I got into this in the late 70s. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on what you want to do, we live in a world where by and large, specialists make more money than generalists. I mean, who makes more money? Your family doctor or the neurosurgeon at a local
The
hospital?
neuro.
The neurosurgeon. Specialists in copywriting are no different. The specialists make more money, have an easier time getting work than generalists in almost every field.
Yeah, yeah. And which one of your copywriting books, would you recommend to a copywriter eager to learn and progress in the freelance career? I know
Well,
which one.
in terms of a freelance career, how to run a successful freelance copywriting practice, I have a book which you can get on Amazon called Secrets of a Freelance Writer. And the entire book is not about copywriting, it's how to be a copywriter and make money as a freelance copywriter.
Okay. And finally, Bob, we don't want to overstay our welcome, but are you currently promoting any product that may be useful to our audience? And how can listeners get in touch with you?
The best way to see what I have is twofold. First, subscribe to my free e-newsletter. Everything I do that exists and I'm offering again, or that I'm offering new for the first time, is announced in my e-newsletter. And to get it, all you have to do is go to www.bly, B as in boy, ly.com/reports, the word reports. And there for free, you can sign up for my e-newsletter. And then the second thing is, if you go on bly.com and you're on my website, click on the portfolio section, and also click on what's new, and you'll see what else I offer.
Okay. Great. This has been great, Bob. I'm very grateful
Thank you.
to
It's my
you,
pleasure.
and I believe the information you shared with us will be very useful. Uh, truly, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
It has been a real pleasure and an honor to have you with us this evening.
I
Thank you,
really
Bob.
enjoyed it.